with shameful, dishonest behavior. Decades of decisions that point toward your own power and fortune, not the best interest of women, the country, or the truth. There is no greater threat to my freedom than another honest president. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
Fall in love to find out you're not loved no more. Someone does something bad that they've never done before. Feel like you're losing what you never really had at all. Expected, pouring like a summer rain, and the winds that blow across the plains. Expected, like the seasons change over a rocky mountain high. Expected, like the world turns and the way the sun will always burn. Expected, like a child learns, or how time always flies. You know that you've done wrong and don't think you get caught. Don't think you can't learn, no matter how much you've been taught. The best thing that's ever happened hasn't happened yet, not yet. Expected, pouring like a summer rain, and the winds that blow across the plains. Expected, like the seasons change over a rocky mountain high. Expected, like the world turns and the way the sun will always burn. Expected, like a child learns, or how time always flies. Expected. Expected, like a summer rain, and the winds that blow across the plains. Expected, like the seasons change over a rocky mountain high. Expected, like the world turns and the way the sun will always burn. Expected, like a child learns, or how time always flies. Expected. Expected, pouring like a summer rain, and the winds that blow across the plains. Expected, like the seasons change over Rocky Mountain high. Expected.
I know you're watching, so pay attention. You hate my freedom, my religion, and my country. You hate me for speaking my mind. You try to control me with violence and intimidation. You think you can muzzle me with fear? Don't ever confuse me for my politicians or my media. I am an American, free-born and free-bred, and I will call you out for who you are. An Islamic extremist who would kill me for my beliefs. You don't intimidate me. My freedom is more powerful than anything you can possibly do, and I will never, never surrender my rights to your terror. I will say what I think, worship according to my beliefs, and raise my children how I see fit, and I defend it all with the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. I cower to no one, because I am the National Rifle Association of America, and I am freedom's safest place.
I still remember those old school days, hanging in the parking lot. The young girls play with the young boys' hearts. They found themselves somewhere in the dark, and the hearts beat out on these city streets. Office girls go passing by, poets they dream, lose Losers they lie, children they laugh, and they love on these city streets. Office girls go passing by, poets they dream, losers they lie, children they laugh, and the lovers they cry. She's an American girl, the kind of live without. Old blue jeans, high school queen, got everything I've ever dreamed. American girl, the kind no boy could live without. Just killing time with some friends of mine. Proud to say she's mine, oh mine. American, American girl. On these old dirt roads round these little country towns, hearts beat in the night. You can hear the songs on the radio. Got the windows down, take it soft and slow. American girl, the kind no
We say we're a nation of laws, not a nation of men. But do you still believe it? Too often the law doesn't seem written honestly and enforced fairly. And we watch lawmakers escape their own rules with loopholes and vague language. What does it say about our country when a law can be enforced one year and forgotten the next? When the rules change when leaders do, and the words on the books don't really matter? Is America really providing a level playing field for opportunity, safety, and freedom? If the game changes with your neighborhood or tax bracket? This isn't the nation the good guys want. We want our children to know truth and honesty and fairness. A country with a compass for right and wrong. We are the 5 million men and women of the National Rifle Association of America. And our fight for freedom for all means nothing without justice for all too.
Driving home tonight, catching all red lights. That's alright, cause I don't wanna be alone. There's nobody waiting there, cold and empty bed. Words I wished I'd said, come on the radio. Ooh. And I don't know why I do this to myself. Ooh. I know you're with someone else, but in my mind we're somewhere in my car, and it's raining hard on the street like glow. You got your lips on mine, it's gasoline on fire. I never will forget. You grabbed my shirt and pulled it over my head. Your fingertips out up and down my back, breathing hard, steaming up the glass. I'd give anything if I could bring it back. Oh, 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 oh. So I've been sleeping till noon in the same bedroom where I once held you, and it's breaking my heart. I should take down all those pictures from my wall. Promises we made won't fill this empty space. Ooh. And I don't know why I just can't let you go. Whoa, oh, oh. Ooh. I know you're never coming back, but in my mind we're somewhere in my car, and it's raining hard on the street like glow. You got your lips on mine, it's gasoline on fire. I never will forget. You grabbed my shirt and pulled it over my head, and your fingertips out up and down my back, breathing hard, steaming up the glass. Give anything if I could bring it back. Oh, if I could bring it back. In my mind, we're somewhere in my car, and it's raining hard on the street like glow. You got your lips on mine, it's gasoline on fire. I never will forget. You grabbed my shirt and pulled it over my head, and your fingertips slide up and down my back, breathing hard, steaming up the glass. I'd give anything if I could bring you back. Oh, 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 oh.
Correctness censors our beliefs. The Second Amendment is under siege. A generation of American values and freedom is at stake.
I will stand up to the gun lobby.
Those who want to transform our country look down at us.
Stop the bull about the Second Amendment in the Constitution.
We don't care. Out-of-touch elitists whine that we cling to guns and religion. You bet we do. And we're
from my cold, dead hands.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Freedom of speech and religion. The right to keep and
Do you still believe hard work is its own reward? Because we live in a society that values leisure above everything. Our most valued citizens are entertainers, celebrities, discovered, packaged, sold and forgotten, one after the other. School kids can name 100 of them for every philanthropist, small business owner, scientist, or soldier. 1,000 for every average parent on an assembly line or construction site. What does it mean for our country when entertainment seems more valuable than anything else? But there are still hundreds of millions of Americans working as hard as ever. Good guys who don't seek the spotlight, but deserve it. And for the future of our country, we should demand it. We are the 5 million men and women of the National Rifle Association of America. A voice for those hard at work.
Well, a glass hit the chicken wire in front of my face. Jack Daniels was falling like a rain on the stage. Then a fight broke out and a bouncer broke a bottle. Over all of that noise I heard somebody holler, alcohol abuse.
The principle behind it. When no one speaks freely, causes can't be championed and the truth will be lost. So who are the people who still revere the principles of individual expression? They're the good guys, voicing their values behind closed doors and before the world, because they know that America will fall as soon as good people fail to speak for themselves. We are the 5 million men and women of the National Rifle Association of America, and we will always say what we truly believe.
Say, hey girl, now what do you say? We pay
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We want to get all N.R.A. members in the arena. Mr. Trump will be landing soon. Stick with us, everyone. We're in for a great show.
American woman, stay away from me. American woman, mama, let me be. Don't come hanging round my door. I don't wanna see your face no more. I got more important things to do than spend my time growing on with you. Now, woman, stay away. American woman, listen what I say. American woman, get away from me. American woman, mama, let me be. Don't come knocking round my door. I don't wanna see your shadow no more. Good nights can hypnotize, sparkle someone else's eyes. Now, woman, get away. American woman, listen what I say. American woman, I said get away. American woman, listen what I say. Don't come hanging round my door. Don't wanna see your face no more. I don't need your war machines. I don't need your ghetto scenes. Colored lights can hypnotize, sparkle someone else's eyes. Now, woman, get away. American woman, listen what I say. American woman, stay away from me. American woman, mama, let me be. I gotta go. I gotta get away. Babe, I gotta go. I wanna fly away. I'm gonna leave you, woman. 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 Bye-bye. 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 You're no good for me, and I'm no good for you. I look you right straight in the eye. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave you, woman. You know I gotta go. I'm gonna leave you, woman. I gotta go. American woman, I gotta go. I gotta go. American woman. Yeah. American girls and American guys, we'll always stand up and salute. We'll always recognize when we see old glory flying. There's a lot of men dead
so we can sleep in peace at night when we lay down our head. My daddy served in the army where he lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in our yard till the day that he died. He wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. Soon as we could see clearly through our big black eye, man, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be hell when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Justice will be served and the battle will rage. This big dog will fight when you rattle his cage. And you'll be sorry that you mess with the U.S. of A. 'Cause we'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be hell when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Of the red, white, and blue. Of my red, white, and blue.
She grew up on the side of the road where the church bells ring and strong love grows. She grew up good, she grew up slow, like American honey. Steady as a preacher, free as a weed. Couldn't wait to get going, but wasn't quite ready to leave. So innocent, pure and sweet, American honey. There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind.
You critics don't define our honor. You try to shame us for doing our job. You teach children.
Well, she was an American girl, raised on promises. She couldn't help thinking that
Ayatollahs of Iran and every terrorist you enable. Listen up. You might have met our fresh-faced flower child president and his weak-kneed Ivy League friends. But you haven't met America. You haven't met the heartland, where the people will defend this nation with their bloody, calloused, bare hands, if that's what it takes. You haven't.
In both parties who meet and exceed that standard. But you, Mrs. Clinton, are not one of them. Your past is littered with shameful, dishonest behavior, decades of decisions that point toward your own power and fortune, not the best interest of women, the country, or the truth. There is no greater threat to my freedom than another dishonest president. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
I'm a mom, and just like millions of other women, that's why I own guns. We're responsible, we're law-abiding, and we're everything that makes America strong. Every day, we're willing to use a firearm to defend our families. But the media will never tell those.
I love you like a brother, a father and a son. It may not last forever, ever,
schoolmasters, church leaders, PTA presidents, and volunteers. They serve our communities and country with dignity and honor. Every day, they leave for work and kiss their families goodbye, knowing it could be the last time they do so. The N.R.A. has the backs of those willing to take on violent criminals to protect our values and way of life. We commend the courage of those who wear the badge, especially in this time when their bravery has come under scrutiny. Ungrateful critics may seem loud. Your courage under fire is deafening.
Here's the truth about the Hollywood celebrities, political elites, and billionaires who attack the Second Amendment. The thought of average people owning firearms makes them uncomfortable. They don't like how the men and women who build their office buildings, vacation homes, and luxury cars, who mop their floors, clean their clothes, and serve their
Second Vice President Richard Childress.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just 5.5 months away from the most important election in our lifetime. You are going to have an exciting experience here today, and my great hope is that when you leave here, you will be inspired to do whatever you can to help elect good people to public office in November. Remember, you, all of you are freedom's safest place. Thank you.
If you'll please stand again for our national anthem and welcome the talented Carlton Smith.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and
principle and faith, a champion of the God-given freedoms we all hold dear. He's a charter member of N.R.A.'s Golden Ring of Freedom and a recipient of the Ronald Reagan Leadership Award. Please welcome our good friend, Joe Gregory.
Please join me for our invocation today. Our Father in heaven, thank you for this country where we are free to gather as N.R.A. members and guests in this special place and celebrate our God-given rights as free men and women. We acknowledge you as creator and sustainer and the original source of our freedom, and we extend our gratitude to you for that freedom. Lord, we put our faith and trust in you, and not in governments, or even in militaries, or even the strength of our own arms. And yet still we humbly ask you to direct and bless our efforts against those who would seek to take away those freedoms. Empower us to protect the peace of our homes, ensure the safety of those defending the homeland overseas, and deliver us from despots and tyranny. Bless the work of the N.R.A. as they seek to protect those guarantees that define us. Help us to be people not only of conviction, but of action, like the heroes that we see today. Law-abiding people of responsibility and exemplary representatives of your love. And at a time of testing, help us to acquit ourselves as free men and women to your pleasure. I pray all this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Please have a seat. Friends, this past year has been crazy, hasn't it? I've traveled all over America, and gun owners know there's far more at stake in this election than just left versus right. There's a growing belief that this is a do-or-die fight for the soul of our country. simple, and it's that clear. The next president chooses the 5th justice, so the Second Amendment is on the ballot this November. I bet you're wondering where Hillary stands, right? Well, let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. I'm sorry about that. That was the wrong clip. I apologize. Show the next one.
Here again, the Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment, and I am going to make that case every chance I get. So I will need your help on that.
For a second. The Supreme Court said you have the right to protect your life against a murderer in your own home, and Hillary Clinton says they got it wrong. That's how little she values our freedom and how little she values our lives. Here's what will happen if she gets elected. She'll put a radical anti-gun activist in Scalia's seat as soon as she can. The gun control groups will take a Second Amendment case to the Supreme Court where 5 justices will overturn what millions of Americans have fought and died to defend, the basic human right of self-defense. And as soon as the ruling clears, states like California, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut will ban the manufacture and ownership of entire classes of firearms overnight. Every gun store in those states will be out of business. Every gun range will be shuttered. Hundreds of thousands of people will lose their firearms and lose their jobs. And as bad as that sounds, it's just the beginning. It ends with no right to own a gun in your home, anywhere in America, period. Now, of course, the elites will still be protected. You know, for all their talk about the evils of firearms, they sure love their armed security, don't they? For 20 years, Hillary Clinton hasn't taken a walk, a nap, or a bathroom break without a good guy with a gun there to protect her. And as long as she lives, she'll never have to dial 911. Yet she wants us to surrender our firearms and our freedom in return for she's special, and we're not. She's smart, and we're dumb. She wants us to live in a place where only law enforcement has guns and everything is free. Free meals, free health care. The 5 million men and women of the National Rifle Association will spend every minute working to make sure you never get that opportunity. You want to turn this election into a do-or-die fight over the Second Amendment? Bring it on. If you want to go in the inner cities and lie about gun control being the answer to violent crime, then bring it on. We'll tell them how your husband dropped prosecutions of federal gun crimes, how Obama followed suit, and how you'll do the same. You fight to give voting rights to violent felons and crack dealers. We fight for the innocent people they terrorize. Hillary, you're a corrupt politician who will say anything to get
Great to be here to celebrate our freedom and those American values that we all hold dear. Hey, I'm excited to hear Donald Trump. Are you? He's going to be out here in just a few minutes. Let me ask you another question. Are you ready to win this election and take our country back? Come on, let me hear you. You ready to send Hillary into retirement? Or maybe an orange jumpsuit. You know, all across this country, everywhere I go, people come up to me and they say this. They say, Wayne, I've never been more worried about my country than right now. And they say it not with anger, but they say it with sadness in their eyes. Not because they fear that something is going wrong, but because they know something has. You know what I'm talking about. You feel it in your heart. Our core values, our freedom, is eroding and slipping away. You're here in this room today, right now, because you care about the America we all know and that we all cherish. And you're here because you're worried that our country and what it stands for is disappearing. In this room, we still see the America that we have always loved. We still see the freedoms that have always made America the greatest nation on earth. We in this room, we are America. We are the police officers who patrol neighborhoods, and we're the firefighters in this room who run toward the fire, the servicemen and women who have answered the call, the doctors and the nurses who heal, the farmers and grocers who feed, the construction workers, the factory workers, the auto workers, and the tradesmen who keep America running every day. We are the teachers of our children and the leaders in our churches, and we're the volunteers in our communities. Americans, all bound together by a common noble cause, the individual freedom bestowed to each of us at our birth. We at the N.R.A. embrace and hold dear what makes us uniquely American: family, responsibility, patriotism, mutual respect, honesty, civic duty. These values are still alive in this room right now and within the hearts of millions of Americans just like us all over this country. But there are other rooms where the America that we see is no longer visible and no longer wanted. Rooms where our America is being transformed by the political and media elites at the highest levels. In rooms at the White House, political elites are changing our country one policy disaster at a time. Failed border policies, failed education policies, failed economic and tax policies, failed health care policies, failed energy policies, failed foreign policies, failed criminal justice policies, and failed defense policies. And together, they're shredding the very fabric of our country and transforming America into an America you won't even recognize. To carry out that transformation and finish the job, there are rooms where hand-picked superdelegates have rigged the election and circumvented voters to coronate Hillary Rodham Clinton into the White House. It's a dirty, inside game. It's a corrupt system, but no one should be surprised. Corruption has followed Hillary Clinton almost her entire life, and so is failure. From her room at the State Department, Clinton's history is littered with failures. The 13 hours of Benghazi, all of Libya on fire, Egypt on fire, Syria on fire, Iraq on fire, a nuclear Iran, a brazenly emboldened Russia, an expansionist China, a nuclear North Korea testing ICBMs capable of reaching the United States of America, while the Obama-Clinton administration slashed America's military. All in the face of a scourge of radical Islamic terrorism that Hillary won't even name. Under Hillary's watch, the world has become ever more dangerous, all while Hillary attacks our fundamental right to survive and protect ourselves by eliminating our Second Amendment right of self-defense. If she could, Hillary would ban every gun, destroy every magazine, run an entire national security industry right into the ground, and put your name on a government registration list. If she gets her hands on the Supreme Court and stacks it with just one more justice, every total gun ban she dreams, every confiscation scheme that she craves will stand up in her court, and we'll all be kissing our Second Amendment freedom goodbye. Folks, I'm not kidding. If she gets just one Supreme Court nomination, Hillary's court will hold that the Second Amendment is the government right, not an individual right, and you can kiss your guns goodbye. That's not the America that we inherited. That's not the America that we want for our children. It won't happen overnight, but it will begin on her first night. She ignores the simple and hard truth that in this room, we all know. The truth that if, God forbid, a terrorist should enter this room, he would learn firsthand that the best way for law-abiding Americans to defend their lives, the surest way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. You know it. There's no limit as to how far the elites will go to put Hillary into the White House. They're even allowing convicted felons. Tone, do you think we can't see their inflection? Do we think they can't see their agenda? Do they think we can't see that? I've always said that one of America's greatest vulnerabilities is the failure of a national news media to provide a level playing field for the truth. And Hillary, she'll be their candidate. Not because Americans want her, but because the political and media elites have decided that they do. Even if Hillary survives her primary, and by that, I mean her FBI primary. Yeah, that's the real one. Even if she survives, is she really the type of person we want to lead America? Despite all that, the elites have huddled in rooms in Washington, in New York, San Francisco, and Hollywood, and cooked the nomination for Hillary. On Wall Street, they'll pay you $250,000 a pop to talk in those rooms. Well, maybe not you, me, but if you're Hillary Rodham Clinton, you can make a fortune talking in those rooms, and she did. There's no sense of public service in Hillary's behavior. We see ya, and we know ya. Hillary Clinton White House would be ground zero for a massive attack on our freedom. It'd be a revolving door and cash register for every Michael Bloomberg and George Soros and every gun ban group in the world. It would be a haven for all the Hollywood elites who plot the destruction of our Second Amendment, while never acknowledging for a split second that they're the ones teaching America irresponsible use of firearms. A Clinton White House would be a cesspool for NBC, ABC, and CBS elitists to plan programming and orchestrate interviews to bombard the airwaves against our freedom. It would be a White House that would put the full weight of a weaponized IRS, ATF, EPA, Interior Department, and every other federal agency behind attacks against groups and people they don't like, while ignoring the real problems facing our nation. We're felons with a toilet in bathrooms in North Carolina and school districts all over our country. If you think the Obama White House
Thanks, Wayne. Are you as fired up as I am? Yeah. All right. Well, let's get going. Friends, think about this. If Hillary Clinton is elected in November and serves 2 terms, she'll be president until 2025. The damage that would be done by her policies and her Supreme Court picks will destroy individual freedom and therefore destroy the America we all love. We cannot let that happen. We have to unite, and we have to unite right now. So on behalf of the thousands of patriots in this room and the 5 million N.R.A. members across this country and the tens of millions of who support us, I'm officially announcing the N.R.A.'s endorsement of Donald Trump for president.
Said to Wayne, and I just said to Chris, I will not let you down. Remember that. I will not let you down. And, you know, I wrote a few remarks, and I'm going to actually read them because we go into a little detail, but I will tell you that Hillary Clinton, and, you know, I call her Crooked Hillary because all you have to do is read any newspaper you want. But Hillary Clinton wants to abolish the Second Amendment. Just remember that. We're not talking about change it. She wants to abolish the Second Amendment. So we're not going to let that happen. I can tell you that right now. We're going to preserve it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to take care of it. Okay? You know, they keep chipping away. They talk about the magazines. They talk about the bullets. We're going to take care of it. You know, a couple of things before I give you some more detailed remarks. I feel really happy with what's going on. You know, the Fox poll came out 3 days ago, and in the Fox poll, I'm leading Hillary 41-44. 44. And last night, Rasmussen, which is a highly respected poll, came out. Trump 42, Crooked Hillary Clinton 37. So we're doing well. Now, with all that, we have a long way to go. But if you get every one of your friends to go vote, because there's a big difference. You know, on a lot of the things, there's a difference, and some are subtle, some are big. And by the way, we're in Kentucky. We're going to put the miners back to work before I forget about that. We're going to put the miners. We just left and Delaware, Rhode Island, and then we went to West Virginia, and boy, did I win. Did we do well in West Virginia? Wow. But all landslides. And more. Every single county in every single state. That's called a victory. And we won by massive percentages in the 60s and some in the 70s. And then, of course, we went to Indiana. As you know, that was going to be the firewall for the other side. And it turned out to be a massive victory for us again. It didn't hurt that Bobby Knight came out and said, I want Trump to win. That didn't hurt. If you're in Indiana and Bobby Knight endorses you, I guess that's about as good as it gets. So I just want to say that I've been watching what's going on, and I've been looking at airplanes getting blown up in the air and lots of bad things happening. It's just not the same, and we're going to bring it back, and we're going to bring it back to a real place where we don't have to be so frightened, where we don't have to be so afraid. And you know what's happening in the schools, and you know what's happening everywhere. We're going to bring it back, and you folks are going to be so happy, and you're going to be so proud of your country again. Just remember. Bernie Sanders, who I'm sure you all love, he did say one thing that was very interesting. He said that Hillary Clinton is unqualified to be the President of the United States. And he said that, and it's just, you know, one of those things. He said she suffers from bad judgment, and she does. You look at so many of her decisions have been bad. So I think we're going to do really, really well, and I look forward to it. I actually look very forward to the debates. I've loved the debates. I don't know. I never debated before, and all of a sudden I have all these debates. And that was a big question mark in my mind. I mean, how will I do in debates? I'm debating people that were on their national debating teams and all of these top debaters. But they never had people interrupting them every other word they'd say. You're a liar. You're a liar. And they're trying to speak, and they can't speak. You would have done the same. I know a lot of the audience. You would have done the same. So I just want to give this, and I want to really, it's so important to me. I wrote it down. And again, my sons have been members of the N.R.A. for many, many years, and they're incredible. They have so many rifles and so many guns. Sometimes even I get a little bit concerned. I said, that's a lot. Okay, but I will tell you, they know so much about it, and really they're surrogates. They go around and speak, and every time they speak to a gun organization or a club, or people call me and they say, you boys are great boys, and boy, do they know their business. So it's one of those things, and that's the way we want it. And, you know, I mention so often, we talk about Paris, or we talk about San Bernardino, and nobody had guns. You know, Paris is probably in the world the toughest place to have a gun. The toughest. France generally, but Paris in particular. And when these thugs walked in, thugs, you know, the press used to call them masterminds, right? The mastermind. We're looking, I said, that's why people are joining. That's why they're coming in, because they're using the word mastermind. Not mastermind, thugs. In fact, I called him the guy with the dirty cap. Remember the white cap? And it was filthy dirty. This was the mastermind. And actually, the press has stopped using the term. They're very dishonest people, among the most dishonest I've ever met, but they actually stopped using the term mastermind because they use that term, and then they wonder why our youth is going and fighting for ISIS. They don't even know what they're fighting for. But I think it's gotten a lot better from that standpoint. But if you look at Paris, 130 people killed, hundreds of people still in the hospital, just horribly wounded, can never be the same. Horribly wounded. And these guys came in, boom, boom, you over here, boom, and they just stood there and just shot everybody. No guns on the other side, folks. If you would have had guns on the other side, if I took a couple of these folks in here, some especially wearing the red caps, Make America Great Again, I promise there wouldn't have been 130 people killed and hundreds of people lying in the hospital to this day. It might not have happened. Because if they knew there were guns in the room, it might not have happened. But if it did, you would have had bullets going in the opposite direction, and believe me, the carnage would not have been the same by any stretch of the imagination. And thank you, I tell the same story on San Bernardino. Here's two people. I guess she radicalized him. Who knows? Who knows? It's a mess. We're in a mess, folks, a mess. Radical Islamic terrorism. We have a president, doesn't mention the words, doesn't want to talk about it, and if you don't want to talk about it, you're never going to solve a very big problem, and we're talking a worldwide problem. We're not talking here, we're not talking Kentucky, we're talking all over the world. This is a problem, and we have a president doesn't want to mention the name. You have San Bernardino, 14 people. They worked with these two. They worked with them. They gave them a baby shower. They had a baby. The people they worked with gave them a baby shower. They walked in, no guns on the other side. They had the guns, and they killed 14 people, many wounded, many in the hospital to this day, but they wounded many. But they killed 14 of their coworkers, and the coworkers thought they were friends. So there's something going on. Now, I tell you again, same story. If we had guns on the other side, it wouldn't have been that way. I would have, boom. If we had guns on the other side, it wouldn't have been that way. And then you have the gun-free zones. The gun-free zones, that's real. We had a case, you know, about a year and a half ago was the first I really heard of this. And where you had the 5 military people, great people. One was a master marksman, a master with anything he touched having to do with guns, weapons, anything he touched. And they were told, this is on a military base, folks. Is under a threat like never before. Crooked Hillary Clinton is the most anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment candidate ever to run for office. And as I said before, she wants to abolish the Second Amendment. She wants to take your guns away. She wants to abolish. Just remember that. The N.R.A. and the late hero, and he was a great guy, Charlton Heston, who many of you knew. I met him a few times. He was an incredible guy. Did battle with the Clintons to protect our Second Amendment. The N.R.A. has led the fight time and time again to protect our fundamental freedoms. This is an amazing group. I'll tell you, Chris and Wayne and all of the people, and I've gotten to know a lot of these are incredible people, and they really believe. This isn't like a job. They really, really believe. And we're all lucky to have people like that, I will tell you. Really lucky. Of course, if they didn't endorse me, maybe I wouldn't say that. I would. Hillary Clinton wants to reverse the Supreme Court decision, D.C. versus Heller, upholding the right to keep and bear arms. Hillary said the Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment. That's bad. That's like what she said about the miners. We're going to put the miners and the mines out of business. Then she goes, right? Then she goes to, oh, boy, I'll tell you, West Virginia, how were they? I hate to say I won Kentucky, but I won West Virginia by even more. But of course, she made that statement after I had already won Kentucky. We're going to win them all. We're going to win them all. And they're running out of parts for our fighter jets. And these are fighter pilots. These are incredible men. And they're going to junkyards, plane graveyards, they call them, where the planes are. They're graveyards where the old planes. And they're taking parts off. They're cannibalizing the planes. They're taking parts off the planes. And they're putting them onto the jets. And I'm saying, is this the United States? Why don't we have new equipment? And a man got up, great guy, looked as good or better than Tom Cruise. And you know what I'm talking about, because that was a great movie. And he said, you know what? I've been in this for 20 years, and it used to be so incredible. And now it's like a different world. The equipment, the way it's maintained, everything. It's like a different world. And I just have to say, just to interrupt what I'm going to be talking about, I have to say, we're going to make our military bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and nobody is going to push us around. Nobody. Nobody. Thank you. And by the way, as part of that, we are going to take care of our great veterans, and I have to tell you, the proper way, the proper way. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you. If Hillary gets to appoint her judges, you know, one of the biggest and most important reasons to win this time, it's very unusual. Sometimes you get no judges to appoint. Sometimes you go for years and there's no judges. Probably there'll be a minimum. You have Scalia, who was one of the greats. Well, his position's up. Great. He was great. But you have Scalia, so you have one before you even start, assuming, and I'm sure that Mitch and the guys are going to be able to hold out. I have no doubt about it, because we don't want anybody taking that slot. But you have Scalia, and you'll probably have 3. It could be 4. And it could even be 5 judges. So I think in terms of president, and we're talking about a 4-year period, And of course, we intend to be there for 8 years. But we'll make it so good in 4, you'll probably say you don't need to do it any longer, Mr. President. But I can't stress in any stronger fashion, whoever the next president is going to appoint from 3 to 5 judges. And if it's Hillary or whoever, assuming she's allowed to run, because you know what? What she did with her emails is so criminal, is so dishonest, is so shocking that she shouldn't be allowed to run, but it looks like they're going to let her run. And that's okay with me, because really, I do want to run against her. I have to be honest with you. So if she gets to appoint her judges, she will, as part of it, abolish the Second Amendment. And I have to say, that would be, in my opinion, that's what she's going to go for. And it's a little like she did with the coal miners. She said about, you know, she's going to put the coal miners, she's going to put the mines out of business. Then she went to West Virginia, and she said, oh, well, I tried to retract. You know, she tried to retract it. Didn't work out too well for her. She got really beaten badly. Hillary wants to disarm vulnerable Americans in high-crime neighborhoods. Whether it's a young single mom in Florida or a grandmother in Ohio, Hillary wants them to be defenseless, wants to take away any chance they have of survival. And by the way, you have men and you have women sitting in an apartment, and outside is tremendous crime of all kinds, and they need to be protected. And you know the only way they're going to be able to protect themselves. And if you take that gun away from them, it's going to be a very unfair situation. And that's why we're going to call her Heartless Hillary. We can do without that. Somehow I like crooked Hillary better. I put forth, and you probably saw it a few days ago, I put forth a list of judges who will protect and defend all of our freedoms, including the Second Amendment. The judges will follow the Constitution, and these were all highly vetted, the Federalist Society, Heritage, some great references from Jeff Sessions, a fantastic man, from Mitch, and from a whole group of people. And we put down 11. I'll be adding some additional names over a period of the next month or so, sometime prior to the convention. Hope you can all go to the convention. Hope you can come. And we're going to be putting some additional names in, and I think you'll be very happy with them. But it's been reviewed incredibly well. People love these people. And I thought I'd do that because I really think it brings the party together. It really is going to, I mean, the effect it's had is incredible, because they weren't sure, will Trump appoint this one, that one? How will the judges be? Such an important thing. So I put together the list with some incredibly important organizations and highly respected, and everybody's really happy. You've seen we've gotten A+ reviews on that. Now, I'd like to call for Hillary Clinton to put together a list also, okay? Let her put together a list, because I'd like to see what that list consists of. And you will see it's day and night, okay? Day and night. And it will not be good for the people in this room. And it won't be good, by the way, for the people of our country, most importantly. So Americans use guns to defend themselves against violent crime more than 1 million times a year, okay? More than 1 million times a year. And they want to take them away. Heartless hypocrites like the Clintons want to take this, and they want to get rid of guns, and yet they have bodyguards that have guns. So I think that in addition to calling for them to name judges, we'll also call them and let their bodyguards immediately disarm, okay? No, they should immediately disarm. And let's see how good they do. Let's see how they feel walking around without their guns on their bodyguards. In the meantime, nobody else can have the guns, right? President Obama tried to take the guns from law-abiding Americans, but has reduced prosecutions of violence. President Obama is even releasing violent criminals from the jails, including drug dealers and those with gun crimes. And they're being let go by the thousands. By the thousands. Many of these are also, I'm sure you're not going to be surprised to hear this, illegal immigrants. President Obama pushed for changes to sentencing laws that release thousands of dangerous drug trafficking felons and gang members who prey on civilians. And I want to tell you, I've really learned a lot about the border. In fact, 2 weeks ago, you probably saw 16,500 Border Patrol agents endorsed Donald Trump. And we've gotten great endorsements. To have the endorsement from N.R.A. today and to have the endorsement from the Border Patrol agents. And I was talking to them. These are incredible people that want to do their job. That's why they're endorsing me. They could just sort of, you know, they're told to stand back. Don't do it. They want to do their job. These are incredible people. It's the first time they've ever endorsed a presidential candidate, and 16,500. So I'm really honored by that. This is Hillary Clinton's agenda to release the violent criminals from jail. She wants them all released. She wants people released that you wouldn't want to walk on the street with, you wouldn't want to look at. And, you know, whether it's Kate in San Francisco, you see what happened there, or Jamil. I've become great friends with his father. Jamil was shot in the face 3 times by somebody that wasn't supposed to be here. Or, and I always say this because this was tragic, a 65-year-old veteran, a woman who was a great woman, raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant, wasn't supposed to be here. We're going to straighten it out. And by the way, this doesn't have to do with guns per se, but maybe it has to do with a lot of other things. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be a great wall. We're going to have borders again. People are going to come into the country, but they're coming into the country legally, folks. They're coming in legally. We're going to keep our borders open, and I'll tell you, but they're going to be open when people come in legally. Now, Hillary wants to just keep them open. Anybody can come across, and that's what's been happening. And the crime is violent and a lot. And lots of other things are happening with the drugs pouring across. So she's putting the most vulnerable Americans in jeopardy, and this is a risk that we can no longer afford. We've had enough. I think we've had enough. Wouldn't you say we've had, like... In trying to overturn the Second Amendment, Hillary Clinton is telling everyone, and every woman living in a dangerous community, that she doesn't have the right to defend herself. So you have a woman living in a community, a rough community, a bad community, sorry, you can't defend yourself. That is so unfair, and that is so egregious. And I'll tell you what, my poll numbers with women are starting to go up. I never thought of it. This should really lift them up, right? Starting to go up. I will say, my poll numbers with men are through the roof. But I like women more than men. Come on, women, let's go. Come on. And most people know that about me. Most people know that. This is the most basic human right of all. But Hillary wants to strip it away, and strip it away from women and all others. Hillary Clinton will release violent criminals from jail, more so than even Obama. She has a more open policy than Obama, if that's possible, and put innocent Americans at risk. I'm going to put criminals behind bars and guarantee that law-abiding Americans have the right to self-defense, 100%. Thank you. Thank you. There are 13 million right-to-carry permit holders in the United States, our country. So they have the right to carry. They're among the most, you know, they do statistics on everything, right? Everything. And these are among the most, in fact, they're like at the top of the list. In Florida, for example, they've issued more than 3 million concealed carry. It. She's got bad judgment. You know where it came from. Came from me. It also came from her current opponent, who's doing pretty well. I'll tell you, you talk about a rigged system. He wins every week and he keeps losing. I think Bernie should run as an independent, okay? Let him run. I do. I would love him to run as an independent. Then it would be the 3 of us on stage. I love that. The Second Amendment is on the ballot in November. The only way to save our Second Amendment is to vote for a person that you all know named Donald Trump, okay? I will tell you. I will never let you down. I will protect our Second Amendment. I will protect our country. Our military will be strong. Our borders will be enforced. We'll get rid of Common Core, which is a disaster. We'll bring education local. So important. Our education is a mess. We're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to have a great, great plan as a substitute. Obamacare is out of control. The new costs, as you know, they're going to be revealed on November 1st. They are going to be through the roof. And by the way, don't let this happen. We'll have to speak to Mitch. Obama is trying to get it delayed till after the election. The new cost will be revealed on November 1st unless he gets it changed, and we don't want that to happen. They will be so astronomical, and it'll show what a total failure and disaster Obamacare is. We will repeal it, and we will replace it with something great, okay? Believe me. We're going to have strong borders, and we're going to make the greatest trade deals. Every country worldwide on trade. We don't win with the military. We can't beat ISIS. Believe me, we're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. We have no choice. We're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. So we are going to start winning again. And I have fun saying it, and I say it a lot, but there's nothing better. And some of you have heard it. But we love you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kentucky. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Anybody having fun yet? All right. Please turn your attention to the screens.
I know the truth about Benghazi. I was there, fighting alongside 5 Americans who were all raised to believe that if you have a chance to save someone's life and you don't try, that's more criminal than anything else. So we fought for 13 hours and we saved lives. But we are not unique. We are no different than the Americans who ran back into those crumbling New York towers, or the Americans who tackled the armed terrorists on that French train, or the many faceless, nameless Americans who every day risk their lives for perfect strangers, trapped in burning cars or dangerous waters. Because if they didn't, no one would. Where was that courage among the politicians who had the power to make a difference during those 13 hours in Benghazi? I am the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
That story's written in a book that's also become a major motion picture. 13 hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi. Every American needs to read it and then see it. Friends, the word hero gets thrown around a lot these days, but I'm proud to introduce 2. Please join me in welcoming Mark Oz Geist and John Tig Teagan.
Thank you. Thank you. Who's America's safest place? N.R.A. is America's safest place. Thank you all. Thank you.
You know, we've heard a lot of talk about the people who are qualified or not qualified to be president. Hillary had said something about her qualifications. Well, we've been on the side of the and we have to do that again now, because she thinks she's above the law. She thinks that the law doesn't apply to her, and she doesn't want to abide by that.
Go ahead. I guess I get to talk. Kind of give you a rundown if you guys don't know the story of Benghazi. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do, but you know, 9/11/2012, the U.S. consul came under attack, and we lost a U.S. ambassador, Sean Smith, the communications officer, and you know, that was actually the third time that a consulate got attacked, and even then, you know, she's got her security. I guess she needed it more than they did, but so, you know, we went over there. We rescued 5 remaining State Department guys that were still alive. We repelled another assault on the consulate, came back. You know, we had Sean Smith's body. We couldn't find the ambassador, and we had to repel 3 other attacks off of our compound. And during the whole time, you know, the administration, I guess, decided we didn't need any support, and you know, it's kind of left the military, you know, hanging dry, and even though they're ready to come. And you know, the last attack, 8 hours into it, 4 mortars got launched, killed Tyrone Woods and Glid Doherty, and injured Oz and Dave Ubin. And you know, if it wasn't actually for the local Libyans, we never would have got out of Benghazi, because you know, the support, U.S. assets, was never coming. Just kind of gives you a quick background, and you know, her decision making, instead of her staying up and being a leader, she went to bed. So I guess maybe we should have called her at 3 in the morning instead of 7 in the evening. Good one, good one. And a good leader isn't scared to tell the truth, even if it's right or wrong, even if they made a bad decision, good decision. But the fact is, to me, I just don't think they knew how to make a decision. You know, the guys are ready to go. DOD contacted them, said they're spinning up, ready to go, and they got crickets. So, you know, I really don't want an incompetent leader as my president, but that's just me.
You know, we hear a lot about who we're going to vote for, who should be there. And as John said, and as we know from personal experience, we know who shouldn't be there. And we got to put our differences aside. Like that night, there was over 24 people in our compound. We weren't all of the same political beliefs, didn't all have the same ideological views or the same religious views. But when faced with a threat for our lives,
we did use the same bathroom.
we came together. We came together to overcome what was there. And we were faced with an evil that night that wanted to take our way of life. And again, I think it's not that much difference in this election, because we are faced with someone who wants to take our very way of life away from us, and we need to stand up, we need to come together, and we need to fight for that. Are we going to fight for that? Thank you very much. Thank you, N.R.A. Thank you for having us. Thank you, America.
I'd like to take a moment and recognize a very special friend of mine who's with us today. A man who doesn't have to imagine what happens when freedom is extinguished. He was just a toddler when the Nazis invaded his homeland of Greece. His father took up arms and led a small band of resistance fighters, going toe-to-toe with Hitler's army. Left with his mother, he experienced utter devastation. Humanity reduced to its most basic instincts. desperation beyond measure. The Nazis tried to extinguish his freedom, but they could not erase all hope. Because there's a force even more powerful than evil that enslaved our friend's country. He'd never seen it. He didn't need to. He knew that somewhere out there, beyond the Nazis, the starvation, the firing squads, there was a place so special, so unique, so free, that even during the darkest hours, it lit his world with hope. You might have seen him tell his story on national TV. Please watch.
I was born in Greece in 1939. Nazi warplanes bombed us unmercifully. Executions in the streets were common. I saw horror you could never imagine. Human beings became animals, starving and desperate. But me, I was lucky. Soon after the war, I saw the Statue of Liberty, and I cried. I've been blessed by the freedom and opportunity only America can offer. Today, I feel a duty to speak out. There will always be evil in this world, but the one thing that separates America from every other country is our freedom. And the one freedom that protects all the others is our Second Amendment. Never give it up. Never. I am the National Rifle Association of America, and I am freedom's safest place.
Anniversary, and we're thrilled that they could be here with us today. Nick, please stand up so we can all say thank you, and Tina as well. Our next speaker's fighting for you right here in Kentucky. He's called the Second Amendment the linchpin of the Bill of